Oh yeah, we are finally up to the Avengers movie. I love this movie, as you can see with the shirt that I'm freaking wearing, except for this guy. He comes in a little later. I can't wait to talk about him. I love his movie. Anyway, let's get straight into this movie. I love this movie. I love how it basically starts out with all the characters doing their own things. You know, Tony is nearing the end of the construction of his building. Banner is off helping people instead of hulking out. And Captain America is, off living his own life, trying to adapt to this futuristic world, because to him, the present would be World War Two. So him trying to adapt to this futuristic world of that he's in is great. Thor comes in a little later. So all the characters are great in this movie. It was great to see Natasha Romanoff back from Iron Man 2. I will say she was great in that movie. Unfortunately, the movie itself was a little bit shit, but she's great in this movie. And I haven't written this down, I don't think. I haven't written this down. But what I really want is a Black Widow movie, right? And I can see with where Joss Whedon was taking Black Widow in this movie. I could see what he was trying to do. The scenes that her scene with Loki, we got a little bit of a glimpse into her backstory, her past and stuff. Give us that Black Widow movie, Marvel. What are you, sexist? They're probably not sexist, but I just really want that Black Widow movie. Okay, so I gotta admit, I said this in my review for Thor, Loki was so much better in this movie. His plan made sense. It was a little bit more simplified and blockbuster. I love him in this movie. I feel like he came into like full fruition in this movie. He was just like the Loki that I've seen from a couple of the cartoons. Like, okay, I haven't watched that many. Honestly, I haven't watched that many. I've only watched Earth's Mightiest Heroes, and the Loki from that I can see is like the Loki in this movie. I just like Loki in this movie. I liked him more in this movie than Thor, which is a weird thing to say. But I don't know. I just liked him. And what I found interesting is that he wasn't doing this of his own free will. He was essentially under Thanos' boot and heel. One thing that I have to mention is the CGI for the Hulk was massively improved from the Incredible Hulk. I didn't want to mention it in that. Well, I should have. Okay, so I should have mentioned it in the review. I failed to. It slipped my mind. But in that movie, the CGI for the Hulk was kind of shit and outdated, right? And which is weird, because how can you say a movie that came like the CGI for a movie that came out like 10 years ago is outdated? What? How? CG. There were heaps of movies coming out around that time that had fantastic CGI, and yet this one, the Incredible Hulk, the CGI used for him in that movie just was bad. It was like a video game. It was like a mildly good video game. It just was bad, and in this movie, it's just the texture, the lighting, the everything for Hulk was done so much better than the Incredible Hulk. Even though I like that movie. It's a fun action movie, but Hulk was just better in this movie. So this movie is fantastic. I love it. I will. Before I move on to any problems that I have to mention this. On first watch, I was a little underwhelmed. I was like, oh, I want to love this movie, but something's pulling me back. I don't know what it was. But after a while, I've watched it many, many times. I don't know how many years it's been now. I've let the movie sink in. I've thought about it. I've given it a lot of time, 6 years. So, I like it now. But if I were to have any problems with it, the first one that I bring up is Cap. I don't like how Cap was portrayed in this. Now, his first movie was great, personally for me. It wasn't as memorable as some of Marvel's other ones, like Winter Soldier or Civil War. But he, in this movie, I felt like the performance given for Captain America, fine. But other things, like the writing for the character, I just felt like they were mistreating him. like he kind of came across as an idiot, like a moron. He's not an idiot, okay? So this scene where he's sitting at the table with the Avengers and he's like, I get that reference. What? I don't know. I just didn't think that he was treated. That he was treated. I don't think he was treated with much respect in this movie. I don't know if it's Joss Whedon. I don't know if it's his vision for Captain America or the rest of the Avengers that made Captain America such a moron. But he just nah. But overall, I love this movie, and what drives this movie for me, and what drives any team up movie ever or should, is the characters. Focusing on each and individual character and their story and linking it up in one giant awesome story. I mean, Joss Whedon is so good. Anything he touches, the Avengers movies, the Justice League movie, freaking Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., anything he touches, he knows characters first. And I love the interactions that these characters have, minus some of the scenes that Cap has. This is just great, man. I love seeing these guys just sit around and talk. So I have a couple favorite moments. I haven't had many favorite moments for the previous MCU reviews. But for this movie, I definitely have some. The Avengers argument, that was just great. And first time we actually see Steve and Tony start what will inevitably be their feud or whatever. Like, they don't like each other. They're always butting heads and clashing, and this is the beginning of what will eventually become civil war. And I just love it, because even then I knew what that this might lead to. The only other favorite moment that I have is the Battle of New York. The entire scene. This whole scene. I fucking love it. It's just blockbuster gold. It's just filmed well, acted well, shot well, edited well. It's just all good. It's just great. I just love it. Oh my gosh. I don't know why my voice is so high right now. Anyway, I'll see you in the next review for Iron Man 3.